Day 2 of the 2026 Sepang MotoGP Shakedown is in the books, and it belonged to Jack Miller and Yamaha, while the new V4 era keeps shaking up the paddock. From the very first laps in the morning, the pace and the technical intensity went up a notch compared to Day 1. Teams weren't just chasing lap time, they were clearly dialing in new engines, fresh aerodynamics, and updated electronics in preparation for a very different 2026 season. The factory Yamaha garage was one of the first to fire up. Fabio Quartararo was out early putting more laps on the all-new V4-powered prototype, followed shortly after by his teammate Alex Rins. Their mission was clear: focus less on a single fast lap and more on understanding how the new engine behaves over a run. Rins and Dovizioso, now working closely with Yamaha as a development and test reference, waited until the afternoon session before swinging a leg over the V4. When he finally joined the action, he put in a series of steady, methodical laps, concentrating on engine braking maps, throttle connection, and stability under acceleration. The goal: collect clean data and refine the baseline settings that Quartararo and Rins will race with later in the year. Day 1 had ended with Alex Espargaro and the Honda camp setting the early benchmark, while the biggest surprise came from Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. In his first ever visit to Sepang on a MotoGP machine, the Turkish star stunned many by finishing 4th quickest, a remarkable debut at one of the most physically demanding circuits on the calendar. Rookie Moreira, still adapting to both the bike and the track, ended his opening day 2.803 seconds off the fastest time. Not impressive on paper, but for a first touch of a full-blown MotoGP prototype, the gap was acceptable and gave his crew clear targets for improvement on Day 2. The second day kicked off with an intense run of aerodynamic testing. At around 10:30, Pol Espargaro laid down the first real reference of the morning, jumping to the top of the timesheets. Alex Espargaro responded shortly after, slotting into second and sitting about half a second behind. Augusto Fernandez made his first timed laps with the Yamaha test squad, continuing his transition to a new technical package, while Jack Miller, now spearheading the Prima Pramac Yamaha effort, methodically started building his pace and confidence. KTM devoted much of the morning to new aerodynamic concepts, a more tapered windscreen, revised front fairing profiles, and subtle changes around the side pods. Over at Aprilia, Lorenzo Savadori kept grinding through a heavy testing program, cycling through aero and chassis combinations alongside Raul Fernandez. As the track temperature rose, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu stepped up. The Turk chipped away at his time run after run, eventually breaking the 159 barrier with a 158.885. That lap not only moved him up the order, but also underlined how quickly he is translating his aggressive World SBK riding style to the demands of MotoGP. As the session wore on, the pace sharpened. Jack Miller gradually worked his way to the top, stringing together fast sectors before finally nailing a clean lap, a 157.90, the fastest time of the day. Just behind him, Pol Espargaro squeezed out a 157.93, only a few hundredths slower, confirming that the revised package underneath him already has solid potential. While the time attack headlines went to Miller and Espargaro, Quartararo and Rins kept their focus firmly on development of the Yamaha V4. Their runs centered on back-to-back comparisons, different exhausts, intake configurations, and aero options, as well as ride height and hole shot devices. For Yamaha, pure lap time at this stage is secondary to understanding the new philosophy they've committed to. In the afternoon, Honda rolled out what looked like the next step in its aerodynamic code, a clearly more complex and aggressive fairing than the version raced in 2025. Sharper lines, reworked side elements, and reprofiled wings suggested a focus on improving both corner entry stability and acceleration traction, two of Honda's key weaknesses in recent seasons. Rins and Dovizioso's Yamaha outings became more frequent and longer as the temperatures peaked. Acting as a calm, experienced benchmark, he focused on consistency and feedback rather than outright pace, helping the engineers refine traction control and engine braking so that the new V4 remains rideable even when pushed to the limit. Throughout the paddock, crews fine-tuned ride heights, wheelbase lengths, and electronic strategies, squeezing performance and stability out of every run. By late afternoon, the most serious time attacks were done, and teams shifted to long runs and race simulations. When the checkered flag fell on Day 2 of the Sepang Shakedown, The combined times painted a clear picture. First, Jack Miller, Prima Pramac Yamaha, 157.90. Second, Pol Espargar, 157.93. Third, Alex Espargar, 158. Fabio Quartararo, Yamaha Factory Racing, 158 to 13.15. Alex Rins, Yamaha Factory Racing, 6th to Danny Pedrosa. 7th, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, 158 to 8.05. Miller's time underlined how competitive the Prima Pramac Yamaha package already looks, while Quartararo's and Rins' laps, though not fully focused on qualifying style attempts, were strong enough to place them in the top group. Toprak's 158.805, good enough for 7th, confirmed his excellent adaptation on only his second day at Sepang. Each run looked smoother, with better corner exit and improved braking references, exactly what you want to see from a new MotoGP entrant. Even if Ducati wasn't at the very top of the timesheets today, its bikes still turned plenty of heads. The latest fairing update is noticeably more conical and aggressive at the front. The main wings have grown larger and new. More visible lower elements on the side fairings suggest a push for extra downforce and improved anti-wheelie performance. As a finishing touch, small air vents have appeared along the lower part of the fairing, a sign of Ducati's obsession with managing airflow and temperatures down to the smallest detail. Every opening, every edge is designed to influence either cooling, drag, or front end load, a philosophy that has paid off massively over the past seasons. All of this development is happening against the backdrop of a historic shift, Yamaha abandoning its traditional inline-4 concept in favor of a V4. That decision has sparked plenty of debate in the paddock. Ducati boss Luigi Dall'Igna spoke to GP about the move and about new Yamaha signing Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Despite Ducati's dominance, Dall'Igna doesn't underestimate Yamaha, reminding everyone that they came close to ending their win drought at last year's British Grand Prix before Quartararo's ride height device failed and cost them the victory. Asked directly about Yamaha's new V4, Dall'Igna was clear. I've always said that it's wrong to have two philosophies that often contradict each other and risk conflict. In my opinion, it's the right decision to make, whether it's an inline-4 or a V4. Obviously, from a technical point of view, I have my own ideas, but Yamaha made their own decision. If they chose the V4, it's probably because they saw that technically it could give them a bigger advantage than an inline-4. He also admitted that, whether rivals like it or not, many are taking inspiration from the team that has dominated the series in recent years, Ducati itself. Aprilia CEO Massimo Rivola recently suggested that Yamaha might initially lag behind the other four manufacturers as it adapts to the new concept. Dall'Igna, however, sounded more optimistic about Yamaha's chances of turning things around, especially now that they've committed to a single clear direction after trying to juggle two different concepts last season. Yamaha showed something very beautiful last year, dominating at Silverstone, Dall'Igna recalled. All our rivals have shown something very beautiful over the last season. I respect them all. Day 2 of the 2026 Sepang Shakedown confirmed that we're at the beginning of a genuine new era in MotoGP. Jack Miller and the Prima Pramac Yamaha lead the times. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu continues to impress on his debut. Ducati and Honda push aero boundaries, and Yamaha's bold V4 project is slowly revealing its potential. If this is only the shakedown, the full preseason tests, and then the opening races are set to be explosive.